Infrastructural development is one of Kenya's key economic growth pillar, which has seen massive public investment since the year 2013. It is one of the integral sectors which President Kenyatta has spent his energies on since his election in 2013. Almost a decade later, the marvel of the president's dream can be seen in the form of standard gauge.
A very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for finding time to be with us. About 2 minutes past 3 p.m. here in Nairobi, East African time. Good morning, good evening, depending on where you're tuned in. This is Diaspora Dispatches, where I get to bring you the latest news from the continent of Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu. So let's just start, and today we shall start our news from Mali, where former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan has ended a 2-day visit to Mali without any agreement on a date for elections to return the country to civil rule. The military government in Mali, which seized power in 2020, has said it regretted the lack of compromise at this stage. Mr. Jonathan is mediating in Mali on behalf of the Economic Community of West African States bloc. He had sought to pin down a date for the free elections, having previously said an initially proposed 5 years was too long. The ECOWAS and the European Union imposed sanctions on members of the interim president Assimi Goita's inner circle earlier this year after the military authorities in Mali janked a plan for February elections. And then we go on to Tunisia, and the Tunisian president has said that everyone will have a chance to comment on his proposals for political reforms. Kais Saied, who suspended parliament and seized executive power last year, was speaking on state television. He said he would hold a referendum on constitutional change in July. Mr. Said's comments came after thousands of people protested in Tunis on Sunday, some shouting, "Bring down the president." Critics say the president is acting to bolster his own authority and wants to restrict civil liberties gained in the Arab Springs revolt in 2011. He has said that the reforms will help end years of government paralysis and weak economic growth in Tunisia. We head over to South Sudan, and the bishop-elect of Rumbek Catholic Diocese, who was shot and wounded last year, has returned to the country ready to work for peace and serve the church. Christian Kalasare was shot in April last year by gunmen at his residence in Rumbek town of Lakes State. The incident occurred barely 2 weeks into his ordination. Kalasare was then transferred to Nairobi, Kenya, where he spent months on treatment before he was discharged in June 2021. The motive of the attack at the time was unclear. However, following the incident, police arrested 35 people in connection with the shooting. Earlier this month, the High Court slapped criminal charges against 4 suspects and acquitted 2 others accused of the crime. And then we move over to the Democratic Republic of Congo, where 14 people, including 7 children, have been killed with machetes in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Red Cross has said, as a community leader, blamed notorious armed groups for the bloody attack. The attack took place in a displaced people's camp in the country's northwest Ituri province on Saturday, the humanitarian group reported. Among the victims were 5 women aged between 25 and 32 and a 2-year-old girl, according to a list shown by the Red Cross to the news agency AFP. Despite the crackdown and support from the Ugandan military since late November, attacks have continued and more than 1,000 civilians have been killed from May 2021 to January this year, figures from the Danish Refugee Council now shows. We head over to Malawi, and the country is marked a kickoff of a polio vaccination campaign today, targeting up to 3 million children under the age of 5. It follows a valid polio virus outbreak in February after a case was detected in a 3-year-old child in the capital, Lilongwe. It follows a wild Malawi last reported such a case about 30 years ago. The latest one is believed to have come from Pakistan. It is unclear how it arrived in the country, but the World Health Organization has launched an immunization campaign to contain any possible spread. And then we go on to Burkina Faso. More than 10 soldiers have been killed by suspected jihadists in Burkina Faso's eastern region, military sources have indicated. It followed Sunday's attack on a military patrol and security team in Natiabone, a rural town in an area that has been regularly targeted by attackers. Burkina Faso's military government seized power in January and ousted President Roch Kabore, blaming him for failing to tackle a jihadist insurgency. And then we go to Nigeria, and 2 people were killed in attacks on police stations in Nigeria, Imo State. Armed men attacked the police stations with dynamite explosives and freed suspects from detention. President Muhammadu Buhari said the government is reviewing the security situation in the country's southeast region after the deadly attacks. He condemned the wicked raids on police facilities and the residence of the leader of socio-cultural group in the region. The attackers also set ablaze the residence of the leader of Ohaneze Ndigbo, an Igbo socio-cultural union. 4 of the attackers were killed during a gun battle with police, a police spokesperson confirmed with the BBC. President Buhari said the violence was deeply distressing and that the security agencies were working to ensure normalcy returns to the region. He gave no details of the new strategies his government would employ. The police blamed the separatist group Indigenous People of Biafra for the violence. The group, which campaigns for a breakaway state in the region, has denied involvement in some previous attacks but has yet to comment on the latest violence. In the past year, deadly violence in the region has intensified, with widespread separatists mainly targeting security facilities and personnel, and that is the latest from Africa. And I think that sounds like typical what you would expect from Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari. Of course, sending messages of condolences and condoling with the families that have been affected by this new wave of violence. I think that is something that Nigerians are kind of used by now, that the sole president does. But as I was just going through that story, you heard that the president does not give details of how his government would employ, the strategies to ensure that he curbs the runaway insecurity in Nigeria. So I'm not really surprised. Well, we're not expecting the government to come and share some intelligence on how it plans to deal with insecurity and how it plans to fight against these extremist groups and all that. But also, as much as we don't expect that to be shared, but you expect to see results so that we know that something is being done to address the issue of insecurity, and that has not really happened in Nigeria. And that's why I think Nigerians and indeed the world question, what President Buhari is doing in making sure that Nigerians are safe, because that has been a source of concern to many. So we know that this attack was blamed on the indigenous people of Biafra. I don't know. And so the IPOB has not said anything about it, but I'm sure perhaps they'll make a statement soon. But this is just how the government of Nigeria responds to certain situations. Instead of just dealing with the issue, they're easy to just find an escape, an escape as to and excuses as to why the insecurity is happening in Nigeria, and has not really dealt with matters security head-on and even tried to employ, strategies that could actually address the issue of insecurities. And I think by right now we already know there's not really strategy at all. And so maybe the people of Nigeria will just thug it out until President Buhari leaves, and maybe the next government will want to address the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, because that is a great concern. And so that is that. And we see the issue of, jihadist and extremist attacks continue as 10 soldiers have been killed, that is in Burkina Faso, in eastern region, I think that is closer to Nigeria. It follows Sunday's attack on military patrol and security team in Natiabone, a rural town in the area that has been regularly targeted by the attackers. So that's also, a key concern. We've seen that intensify in Burkina Faso. As a matter of fact, that was the key reasons as to why the military in Burkina Faso decided to oust President Roch Roch Kabore. But since then, I don't know what they're doing now. I don't know now that the army has taken over the country. They're so busy with the leadership of that country that they've forgotten their work, which is to provide security and to, protect the territorial integrity of the Burkina Faso and its people. So we've seen an increase in insecurity, the same thing that they accused President Roch Kabore of not doing properly. But now the army is in charge, so I don't know who they are going to blame, because they should know better. They have the intelligence, they have what they need, and I guess the skills to fight this, jihadists. And, why are we having the increase in attacks in Burkina Faso? Are you not doing enough? What is happening? You accused the former President Roch of not taking care of that situation, but now you can do that, but you're not doing that. So what is going on? And I don't know what became of Roch Kabore, but don't hear of him so much now. They held him under house arrest. I think he's still under house arrest. I'm not sure. But I think that is what happened, and the violence, that started in 2015, the jihadist attacks in Burkina Faso has claimed so many lives, has made so many people displaced from their homes, has maimed a lot of people in that region in Burkina Faso. So we do know that insecurity is a real problem and a real threat in the Sahel region, and indeed in other, countries across not the democratic, I think that's because I'm going to the democratic, but across the Sahel region, period. And the DR is not in the Sahel region, but also it has suffered, spate of insurgencies, man. What is happening in Africa is like we're just putting out fire after fire after fire in different countries, and we're not catching our breath. I guess at this point, even African Union is just overwhelmed, and that's why a lot of these things just happen and pass, and you don't even hear a word from the African Union. And a lot of these, intensified levels of insecurity has become the norm, and we've become complacent, and African Union is just not giving a way forward, or is not treating this with the urgency and seeing how they can work together, the different countries, and help out and see how to contain this. And so in the DR also, another sad story that has to do with insecurity and insurgency. And 14 people, including 7 children, have been killed with machetes in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Red Cross has said. Of course, in the northwestern province of Ituri, which has been very restive now for a long time. And this is interesting because we do have the KDF in the DRC. We do have Uganda's army in the DRC and others. Was Russia wanted to bring in the mercenary? No, Russia wanted to bring its mercenaries to the Central African Republic. Okay, so even with this help that it has been getting from its neighboring countries, and of course the DR Congo's its own army, it's not enough, and the killings, have continued. But for the Democratic Republic of Congo, the story is very complicated, and the issues are very complicated, and the interest there is very, intricate, because there are a lot of interests that are being represented that are clashing, there in the DRC. So it's very much possible that one of the key people in this, interest that is clashing could be even, sponsoring some of these things. So with the DRC, it's a whole story for another day. But we've seen people suffer. We've seen people be maimed, and I think there are just people, some countries somewhere is just sitting and refusing that DRC will never know peace, because should DRC know peace, perhaps they're looting, the pipes for looting will be closed, and that will not be very good for the economy. So that is what is happening in the Democratic Republic of Congo. There are people sponsoring, and there has been allegations of people sponsoring the continued conflict, the continued clashes, these militia groups, because it works well for their interest. And so I don't know how long our KDF will be there. The Kenya Defense Forces went to help President Felix Tshisekedi. I don't know how long they will stay there. I hope they don't ever stay like they're said to have in Somalia. But also, the Ugandan People Defense Forces, I guess, they're also the UPDF. They're there too. And I don't know if their efforts are yielding much. But that is the latest. And these people who are being killed, the latest report you hear of people being killed, these are people who were in a refugee camp somewhere. So you've been chased from your homes. You've gone to a refugee camp. It's not enough. These thugs still, chase after you to murder you there. It's very sad, some of these things that happen in this continent. And of course, that bishop that was shot in Rumbek in South Sudan last year has healed and is ready to come back and preach peace and try to bring people together. Of course, the motive of his shooting has never really been found. They've never known why the bishop was shot. But, he was flown to Nairobi last year for treatment. He's okay now. And so he's back to work and he should be coronated. He should be coronated as the bishop for that region and start his work. Another crisis looming in the continent, and that is in Mali. Remember, a former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, has been leading the mediation efforts between the military junta in Mali, led by Goita, and for ECOWAS. And so they had agreed on a date. Remember, after Mali disposed its president, they seized power in 2020. I think there has been 2 coups in Mali, because after the people they brought into power and the civilian president they put into power, they also removed him in a couple of months. And so ECOWAS has been trying to get the military junta to agree to an election date so that the country can go back and quickly to a civilian rule as quick as possible. But Mali has refused. Russia is in Mali right now. The mercenaries from Russia, I don't know if they're state-sponsored, but the Wagner group, a Russian, mercenary group, is in Mali to try to help them with their insecurity. That also was one of the key reasons why they removed President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. Remember when they removed him? And so it's a very murky situation. So the agreement was for them to have elections last month in February. That did not happen. So ECOWAS has been trying to get the junta to agree on a new date, because the junta said it needs 5 years to redo the constitution. They said they wanted to redo the foundations of, or something like that. I don't know how they're planning to do that, but that is what they said they were going to do. And they said in this doing of theirs, in their plan, it's supposed to take about 5 years, and ECOWAS has been saying, okay, that's too much, because Mali has been suspended from ECOWAS, Mali has been suspended from African Union, okay, so it's not a member, but ECOWAS is worried because Mali is a key member in ECOWAS, and as we know, in ECOWAS, all these countries right now, especially in the Sahel region, they're dealing with issues that has to do with insecurity, and Mali is a very key member in this union. So Mali needs to be part of whatever is happening in terms of the talks that are ongoing. But as long as it remains suspended and isolated, that is not possible. And now it becomes maybe another weak link. Even if the Russian mercenaries are able to help Mali fight the insurgency in Mali, but the rest of the countries are still restive, it's still not very good, so the military junta has not been keen to hold elections, and so they're saying they need 5 years. They need 5 years to rebuild the foundations of Mali. They need 5 years to respond to some of the issues that they need, and maybe have another constitution. I don't know, but that's what they said. And of course, ECOWAS was feeling this is too much time, so perhaps they're looking for a compromise. But the military junta is not interested at all. Another person, and I think this is something I say here every day. We have news from Tunisia. President Kais Saied is playing with fire, and he keep poking that bear. He will find himself in a lot of trouble, and before you know it, it is the Tunisian army that will remove him. He suspended parliament. He has made key changes in the judiciary. He controls that. His word is a decree. Is law right now. Much of it in Tunisia. And lest you forget, this is where the Arab Spring started. Remember, in 2011 in Tunisia, and so President Kais Saied has been making key key changes that has doubled back on the reforms and on the progress that Tunisia had made as far as democracy is concerned, as far as human rights abuse is concerned, as far as governance is concerned, as far as democracy is concerned. And so people are feeling, no, you can't take us back. They've tasted democracy, so they're saying, no, we want a country that we have a say-so. And, there has been protest upon protest in the streets in Tunis and other towns in Tunisia. And so now the president says that he will give the citizens a chance to comment on his proposals for the political reforms that his government seeks to put in place. So the people will have a say-so. Okay, so I think maybe he's feeling the heat and he's trying to just calm down, the public, but I don't know for how long. But I keep saying he's playing with fire. I mean, the army will get tired of people coming to the street and them running after the people every now and then. And so they'll decide, you know what, you sit down. Let's get another leader who perhaps respond to what these people want. But we've been seeing those protests go on there in Tunisia. So that is, I think, what we have for you today. I'll see you here tomorrow, God willing. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Diaspora Dispatches. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye for now.